Okay, guys, thanks for joining us here tonight. It's an extremely exciting day for the Regina Pats, selecting 3 elite hockey players in this year's first round of the WHL Prospects Draft. To my left, I have Pats General Manager and VP of Hockey Operations, Alan Millar. To his left, we have Maddox Schultz, Regina's own and the Pats' first pick. And to our far left, we have Pats Assistant General Manager and all-time leading scorer, Dale Derkatch. Before we get to questions, we'll start off with initial statements from Dale Derkatch regarding the 3 players that were selected today. And then, of course, Regina Pats General Manager Alan Millar will kind of open his part of the press conference by discussing a huge trade for the Regina Pats Hockey Club, in which they traded the 26th pick in this year's WHL Prospects Draft, as well as a first next year and a first in 2027 in exchange for the 3rd pick, in which they selected Liam Pue, along with Maddox Schultz first overall. And with their final pick, they ended up taking Logan Henry. So, Dale, I'll have you open it, discussing Maddox Schultz, Liam Pue, and Logan Henry, the 3 first-round picks this year.
Well, thank you, Dante. Well, I'll start with Maddox here to my right. Everybody's seen his hockey. Everybody in the room has seen either him play live or on some kind of tape or on the TV, and that's everything you see. But to tell everyone this, as good as he is as a hockey player, him as a person is equally as good, if not better. And when you're looking to add elite talent and people to your organization, this is a leader. This is a guy who plays like a pro already. You know, what coaches look for in hockey players, I'd say even up to the highest level, is consistency in play. And that's what you'll get from Maddox. You'll go watch him play. He'll play the same every game, regardless if he scores 3 goals or he doesn't get any. He plays a team game, a 200-foot game, and is a great leader by example. And someone, obviously, we're tremendously excited to have in our organization. Liam Pue, this guy here has got some talent. I'll tell you, he can score. His shot is NHL ready, a deadly shot. To go with that, he's a powerful skater, and a big part, he plays hard. And he's a type of player, if you're going to, take some liberties with him, he's ready to give it right back. He plays a hard game and a competitive game, which is something we're looking here to build. A lot of compete. And then we have Logan Henry, who just is a great complement to the Schultz and to Pue, is a power forward, who's a strong skater. He's fast. He competes. He works hard. But to go with that, the guy can score goals. He's got nice hands, and he brings it. And is a type of guy who's willing and able to stick up for his teammates. So I think let's throw those 3 guys on a line and see what happens.
For those that are wondering, Logan Henry, unfortunately not available, but for those that would like to speak to him one-on-one, please send me a note. He's currently traveling on a plane from Philly. He just finished a hockey tournament. Alan, thank you.
Yeah, and Logan finished a hockey tournament in Philadelphia where he played on a line with Liam Pue at a tournament that featured some of the top prospects in North America. And obviously we were in tune with what was going on in Philadelphia and played very well. So a lot of knowledge for Liam and Logan together. So first of all, exciting day for our hockey club. Very pleased, to welcome Maddox, Liam, and Logan to the Regina Pats. And obviously we entered the draft with the number 1 pick overall and number 23, and then we made a significant move to acquire the number 3 pick overall. This was a situation where last night we learned that Edmonton was going to draft Wooters at 2, and Liam Pue would be available at 3, and we knew that Kelowna, with them hosting the Memorial Cup, were looking to make moves and wanted to move the 3rd overall pick to build the assets to build their team for the Memorial Cup. So we started to engage those conversations to see if we could get what we believe are the two top forwards in the draft, the two top players in the draft, and we were able to put it together. I think that to be aggressive, to see the opportunity to make that move and add Liam Pue was obviously based on adding a player of that caliber and the dynamic that we can build with him and Maddox. I think about Savoy and Geeky when Winnipeg drafted them with the first 2 picks years ago, and the success that franchise and those players had. And at the end of the day, gentlemen, we've talked a lot about during the course of this rebuild in terms of the draft capital that we built. And the draft capital we built was what allowed us to be aggressive and to put this deal together. We gave up 26 in the draft without giving up 23, the last pick in the first round, to allow us to draft Logan Henry, that we're very excited about. We gave up a first-round pick in 26, where we have 2 first-round picks, and we keep the best first-round pick in the 26 draft as part of a condition in that deal. And then the first we gave up in 27 is in a year where we have 3 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and 2 fourth-round picks. So it gave us the opportunity to not put significant holes in our draft capital, even though it was a significant price. What we built allowed us to put that deal together, and we couldn't be more thrilled.
All right, we'll get to questions. Daryl Davis, we'll start with you, then Britton.
There was some suffering last year. Does this make it worthwhile?
Well, have to look at it that way. That's what we, Daryl, that was part of what we've done the last 2 trade deadlines during the year. That was part of was adding the young players, building the draft capital, and looking towards having a day like today. We knew we were going to have a lottery pick. The ball dropped our way in terms of getting Maddox, able to pull off the deal because of the depth and picks that we had to add Pue. We still have a lot of work to do. But we're building a foundation of very good young players and very good people. You look at what we've accomplished today, and you complement with the number of returning players we have. You complement that with getting ready for the U.S. draft tomorrow with the 12th overall pick. We still have 2 picks in the second round starting tomorrow morning. We have the 4th overall pick in the import draft. That's you keep building, you keep adding talent, and we'll build ourselves out of this, and we'll have a very, very good team one day.
Did you ever think of anybody other than Maddox?
No, I think some people kind of thought I was being coy when we won the lottery, and I think I said it to a number of you in terms of interviews that we weren't going to announce anything publicly until we were able to sit down with Maddox and his family, and we were able to do this past Monday. Had a great meeting, had a great afternoon. We were able to put Connor Bedard on video to make it official, tell Maddox that he was going number 1. He got some great congratulatory messages from Jordan Eberle, Cole Sillinger, and Sam Steele. So it was really official when we met with Maddox and his family Monday afternoon.
Maddox, just what's it mean to you to be drafted by the hometown Pats?
Yeah, it's obviously something we dream of. Growing up watching this team play and have the players that they had in their organization, it's it's a dream come true.
Al, what's it mean to you though to keep Maddox in Regina, not just because of his hockey talent, but a guy who grew up watching the Pats be able to let him live out that dream?
Well, I think that's just an add-on for us. I think that's a bonus. That you look at the history of the club. Getting to know Maddox and family, their passion for the Regina Pats and the city and how they followed the team, cheered the team for years. Maddox talks about Sam Steele being one of his favorite players when he was a young man. First and foremost for us, it started with the best player available. Maddox was the best player available for us at 1. And, all that comes along with it, with him being a local player, local is a great bonus for the hockey club and for Maddox and his family.
And Liam, if you can hear me, just what's it mean to you to get drafted by the Pats, an organization that did trade up to come and get you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big honor knowing that they trade up to get me, and I'm super stoked to get things going, and obviously being able to get drafted on the same team as Maddox. He's an amazing guy, and I'm super glad that I get to be a part of this team with him.
Taylor?
What does next year look like? Both Liam and Maddox are eligible to play 34, but under the model, I don't believe two 15-year-olds can play at the same time in a game. Is there exceptions to that can be made, or what does each of their seasons look like next year?
Yeah, we've got some work to do to just understand fully what the 34 game affiliation looks like in terms of how we deploy the players in that system, Taylor. This new affiliation agreement is brand new. Maddox, Liam, and Reed Nickel, whoever took 5th overall, will be the first players under this new Western development model. So, in terms of where the players are playing, when they spend time with our team, we've got some work to do. Obviously we know that Maddox will be with the Patsies, and he'll spend a lot of time with our hockey club. The Liam Pue, acquiring Liam Pue, came right down to 4:30 today, and we look forward to sitting down. We've got some work to do with the WHL, and sit down with Liam and his family and talk about next steps and where he's going to play next year, and put together the schedule in terms of how these young guys are going to get into our lineup. And you look at the 34 games, and we're going to want these guys to play, and we're going to want to work with them and their families in terms of making sure that we're doing the right things in terms of their development, and that there's a balance to how much time that they're playing and when they're practicing with us, when they're playing for their under 18 teams. So there's some work to be done there, Taylor, and we'll have more information as we move forward.
Maddox, do you always have to balance that, knowing you're sort of going to be part of two teams and potentially you have two practices that you could attend on a certain day, and obviously a game scheduled to juggle? Obviously you love hockey and you want to be playing as much of it as possible. Do you always have to take a step back and understand that you can't overdo it in a sense?
Yeah, like you said, I want to be on the ice every day, practicing and playing every day. But ultimately, that's not it's not going to happen. But I'm just really excited to get things going with the Pats. But also hang out with my buddies on the Patsies as well.
Dan?
Alan, how important is it to stress just patience through last year, but also patience through this next part of, as they always call the process, building this team?
Well, I think when we're dealing with young players, patience is something at this level we have to be cognizant of all the time. Like, in terms of that development path, and when players make our team, when players play on our team, there's a process there to building and building. We're still building, but we have expectations that the building is starting to take a step. And we're going to continue to do what we can during this week and during the off season, to do what we can to take that next step next year, to be a competitive team and to be a playoff team. Like I said, we're still building a lot of good young players, in terms of when you look at our 08 group and what we got out of Lansert and Klassen and Kuzma, we're excited about. We're optimistic about our 09 group, ecstatic about what happened today. But our 07 group is strong, complementing our 06 group, our 20-year-old group. I think that in our conference we've had a lot of teams that loaded up this past year, and they have to start to get into rebuild mode. We feel we're going the other way. We're going to do what we can to be competitive next year.
Liam, we're familiar with Maddox as a player. What kind of a player are you, and what kind of a player do you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I'm a pretty offensive forward and who likes to be creative in the offensive zone. And I think maybe with Maddox along my side there, I think we can do some pretty amazing stuff on the ice together. And I think just going forward, I just want to make sure I'm just always being the hardest worker I can be, and that will just elevate my game.
Okay, so I'll ask you another question to Liam, just because we got you right now. Liam, no Maddox gave you a call after you were picked. So what was that call like? What did he say to you, and what did you say back after you were selected?
Yeah, he called me right after we got picked, and we were just both almost in shock. You could say we were both just so happy that we get this opportunity to play together on the same team and maybe in the same line. You never know. But yeah, we're both just super happy for each other, and I think we're just both super excited that we get to play on each other's team.
Now, Maddox said you guys played against each other when you guys were probably 10 years old. Do you remember who was better back then?
Yeah, we did play against each other in the break tournament a while ago, but yeah, I'm excited that we get to join each other now on the team together.
Yeah, for some reference, just Liam and Maddox both have the same representation at Newport Sports, and I bring that up because they've been able to be at some camps over the last couple of years put on by Newport together, so that's part of the familiarity as well.
Alan, just in terms of looking at this draft, obviously you got two really high caliber players in Maddox and in Liam, and then Logan later on in the first round. But how do you balance kind of picking the best player available at your pick? Maybe a little bit easier at 1 and 3 than 23 versus filling a hole that you feel in 2 years we need somebody to fill this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the best way to describe that is a couple ways. One is that, in some way, shape, or form, you are building teams on draft day, but you're trying to add as much talent as possible. And we're work real hard at our list and trust our list on draft day. We were very focused on a defenseman at 23, obviously with what we got at 1 and 3, and it just where our list was at. We couldn't pass at Logan Henry at 23. So, we're going to continue to trust the list, but we'll certainly have a focus on a defenseman early in the second tomorrow and possibly again at the end of the second as well. But that will be dictated by the board.
Daryl?
Dale, is the landscape changing at all? Do you have to build for 18-year-olds now as opposed to 19-year-olds? I'm thinking specifically because of the NCAA ruling. Is it changing a bit?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think anybody knows the answer to that right now. I know you're seeing some 18-year-olds get offers, or you're seeing all that on social media for the most part. How much of it is true or not, I don't know. I still think it's an unknown. I still think, we're going to build as we have in the past, and I'm sure within the next year or two, those things will all be ironed out, because I think there's probably a good way to have everybody, let's say, have their players for the amount of time they need them and work out best for everyone. But that is a little ways away still. I don't think there's an answer for that exactly. We're building like we have in the past at the moment.
Brennan?
Al, when you make the trade for Liam, you get all these high-quality 15-year-olds now. Obviously, timeline shifts to when these guys are 18, 19. But is that a gutsy move to go out and make those trades to go up that high and get another top-end talent like that, knowing that the clock kind of starts?
Well, gutsy, I don't know, but I hope it's a smart one, and I certainly believe it is. Again, I think that, and I think if people remember when we talked at the end of the year, and again, I know I say draft capital and building and those things a lot along the way, but we talked about the draft capital that we built, and everything was on the table as we were getting ready for the draft. Whether that was acquiring players, whether that was moving up in the draft, we had built that draft capital to use it wisely to put our club in the best position to get better and to have a chance to win a championship one day. So, for me, as I mentioned early on, you know, when we knew Liam was going to be available at 3 and that pick was available, we went to work. And you know, gutsy or whatever, I just think that's my responsibility. That's our job in terms of looking at those opportunities and being able to capitalize on those opportunities because of the draft capital we built. And I feel real good that we're able to put it together.
Now, did you make that trade if Liam's not there at 3?
The deal was conditioned. The deal was contingent. We did the deal 4:30 with Kelowna. The deal was contingent on Liam being on the board at 3.
So he was your guy at 3, nobody else?
Nobody. We were not doing the deal if Liam went 2. So that was a contingent that we had in the trade that we made with Kelowna.